Okay, so our last topic today is nutritional coaching. So we're going to be going over, in the past, a lot of you guys have done this with me. Nearly everybody in this room has done this at least once with me, but some of you have done it multiple times. Some of you is your first time. So in the past, when I was in this seminar, I've gone over a lot of educational topics. Today, we're going to focus directly on the coaching aspect, on how to get results, on what people kind of fall down on, and how people have been successful. So from doing it with you guys, I've data on you guys, and on that, I've been able to make it better every single time. With doing that, I understand what's very important, what isn't as important, and what gets people the results that we want. So obviously from your training, like you've just heard the guys talk about, you will get stronger, you'll build up muscle mass, you'll do all these things. Nutritionally, it's a big factor in terms of how much you can push that limit. What you can squeeze from the stuff that you do outside of here, outside of even sleep, outside of stress, what you can do with food alone is huge. And we're going to go over some of the data on that. Just a few stories from people in here, because I think it's nice to go over just people that have been in the gym with you. There's some people in here who've lost 30, 40 kilos doing this, and they've gone from the stage of, let's say their weight was overweight, they've gone to a healthy weight, and then they've gone to a really good weight that they're happy with, and they've then since then maintained that weight and are now on a different goal, a different path. We're going to go over that in terms of goal setting and how we manage it. But there's a lot of people in here who have, maybe in your position right now, you're feeling that you're starting again after Christmas, you're struggling with your results, but there is definitely an end goal there. You can get these results. Nutritionally is historically the one that people always will leave behind, because it's the mental game, it's not the physical game. So a lot of people will lack the results from that because they're not willing to put in that work outside of here. So we're going to work on them steps and how we can get you to that level and to where others are succeeding. Questions at the end. Jesus, that was quick. So 3 steps to success. So I went over this last time. There is 3 things that you need to do. If you do these 3 things correctly, you will succeed. If you miss any of them, you will not succeed. Nutrition is not as much leeway as Dan talked about earlier, where you may have 30 days with your strength, 30 days with your cardio. You don't get that same leeway with nutrition. If anyone has ever tried to burn off the food that they eat, they will never be successful. So for example, if you were to eat a Snickers bar, very simply, you could go run a 5K and just about cover that alone. So you'll never outtrain a bad diet. So it's very important that we get these 3 steps in. So number 1 being mindset. So your mindset is the most important aspect of this. What will defeat you every single time is yourself, not any other reason. Everyone believes that they're the busiest person in the world. Everyone believes they have enough excuses or enough reasons to stop doing something the second it gets hard. But you are the only person that can stop yourself from doing this. I guarantee you, if you don't last the 6 weeks, you won't starve to death. You will continue to eat. It's whether you can continue to eat in the plan that we execute for you. So the mindset is important. You're going to eat every day. So what's stopping you from tracking it? What's stopping you when you get to the limit and stopping? What's stopping you in getting to that target and saying, well, I may not have eaten the food I should have, but at least I've stuck to my target. Or I may not have stuck to my target of calories, but I've eaten food that's going to be good for me. I'll make up for it the next day. There's always a road back, and the mindset is key to that. So what we need to start to develop is more robustness of the mind, kind of like when you're in here. So I don't think anybody enjoys doing the 12 reps in our current training program, but you all do it anyway. Yeah. So that mindset that you have there where you're like, oh, what's another set? It may not be as enjoyable. You're all waiting to get to that 5 rep mark. That's the sweet spot. That's the results with your nutrition. I want you to start to visualize that. The hard part is the tracking. The hard part is the small decisions. They do matter. You can easily go off plan, but that doesn't mean that every single day of the week is ruined. You've got to get back on it. So your mindset is going to be key. I'm already going to tell you now, if you tell me you're too busy, you're not. Everybody in this room will tell you that you're busy, and that's the reason they can't do it. And there's so much things on. There's somebody beside you that's busier. There's someone who's not as busy beside you. It doesn't matter. They'll succeed if they have the right mind to do it. So that's the first thing we have to start to adapt to. And you have to be hard on yourself. You have to say, look, I didn't have a good day. Maybe I am busy. Maybe it is hard. But where does the sacrifice come from? Nearly everybody that says they're too busy as well, if they look at their screen time on their phone, they have hours. So like there's always time. You can always do something. There's a solution to every problem. We can only solve it though if we have the right mindset towards it. So the second one is commitment and prioritization. Kind of comes from the mindset, but you have to put yourself first. If you don't put yourself first, you won't succeed. You are the only one that's going to benefit from this. So what that means is, what is more important to you, yourself or your job or whatever else you do in your day-to-day? Every decision that you let stop you stick to the plan, you are then prioritizing that over yourself. So for the next 6 weeks, you have to put yourself as number 1. That doesn't mean you're not going to be busy. That doesn't mean you're not going to have a really hard time at work. It means that you still come first, that you have to make sure you adapt to the situation around you. So if you end up having to do a 60-hour work week in work and your plan isn't perfect on your nutrition, what do you do the next time? The next time you have a day off, you sacrifice. You then prioritize yourself, you prep your food for the week, and that is your solution. There's going to be a solution for every single problem, and that all comes from prioritization and making sure you commit to the process. So you have 6 weeks here, which is a great opportunity. It genuinely can change your life. You don't realize this, not even from a health standpoint, from a confidence standpoint, from your just day to day, from how everything around you will feel. If you can get your nutrition on point, you're going to make a lot of things in your life get better. You'll feel better, sleep better, you will have more energy. It's a lot of benefits that you got from exercise. You can enhance that a little bit further. And lastly is execute the plan. The plan will work. I have zero doubt. I'm 100% confident in every single thing that I'll give you will be absolutely correct. If it's not correct, I'll adjust it to be correct. So it's never going to be a problem. The problem is the process. I need you to commit to it and give me 100%. If you do that, it is a guaranteed result. There's very few things that you have that are guaranteed. It's just completely down to your mindset and your prioritization. Other than that, we will get the result. Which we're going to go over now. We'll kind of go over the numbers that we have. So from a fat loss perspective, which is what a lot of people do want as their goal, but it's important to understand that by doing this, you're improving a lot of other goals that you may have as well. So in the last group, just before Christmas, they lost 54.2 kilograms, which is 4.5 kilo per person, which is the most that these groups have lost. On average, they've lost 35 kilos in the past in the 6 weeks. That was the biggest that we had. The reason that was the biggest is because every time we're doing it, we're adding things to make it even better, keeping people committed for longer and getting people the right results. To lose 4.5 kilos per person in 6 weeks, to put that into perspective, it's nearly unheard of. Most nutrition plans, even if you go to something like what's called Weight Watchers, all these different things, they're not long-term solutions, but they never will see numbers like that. To get numbers like that, you have to make sure your plan is perfect. It's correct to the person. It's individualized. How we do that is I can see you train. I know when you're here. That sounds a bit weird. I know when you're here because I can see it on the timetable, but I can see you're training consistently. I know you're doing your nutrition right because I can see your logs. So if I have all of the data that kind of controls the main aspects of that, I can give you a number to get these type of results. So that's why it's very important that we execute the plan, because the plan will work. What else? So these are the things that I can't measure because I don't have a lab, but this is done in a study where they measured muscle mass on a group of people where some of them were tracking their nutrition, and this wasn't about anything to do with fat loss. They were just purely tracking their nutrition from a health standpoint versus those who weren't. In a 6 to 12 week block, they gained 0.3 kg of muscle mass. That doesn't seem like a lot, but when you look at the yearly amount, it is quite significant. So in 6 to 12 weeks, they were able to gain an additional 0.3 to their counterparts, whereas in a year, you can gain 0.9 to 1.2 year. Like that's not a lot. So if you think about it, you're nearly 33% of your yearly intake from just changing your nutrition alone. So imagine that in terms of your programs. If you have a 12-week block with your nutrition tracking that, if let's say with person A and person B, they do the 12-week block and they track the nutrition, and person B doesn't do the nutrition, person A is getting a 33% increased benefit in terms of muscle mass. It's quite significant. From a performance standpoint, the people who tracked the nutrition seen 2.49 kg. This was on upper body lifts, so it's a little bit more impressive in the sense if you imagine that on your bench press. On a squat, it's obviously a little bit more of an increase, but a 2.5 increase on their lifts just from the nutrition alone on their testing on that across the 8 weeks. So again, it's just giving you that edge in your performance. You're going to perform better, you're going to lift better. And then like Dan was talking about earlier, it helps with the aspects outside of here, your recovery, your sleep, all of them different things that your nutrition can improve. It definitely helps in on that too. Like Dara was touching on, for your health. So the stats that Dara gave you were on exercise. The stats that I'm giving you are exercise excluded. This is just purely on nutrition. A 20% lower rate of cardiovascular disease. So cardiovascular disease is the number one killer worldwide. That's what Dara was talking about, heart attacks, strokes, anything like that. From just changing people's nutrition, 20% lower rate of that. A decrease of 14% in cancer incidence, that's just across the board. And then a 19% lower increase of diabetes. And that's just on nutrition, nothing to do with exercise. So if you imagine you're training here 3 or 2 times a week, you're doing that correctly, you're doing that really well, and you have your nutrition on top of that, your long-term health is in a really good place. But look at the increases, the numbers that are there from just changing what you're putting in your mouth. And like that, it may seem like a lot of effort. It really isn't once you get into the routine of it. It's small changes over a period of time. So long-term benefits of the 6-week block. We've kind of touched on them by discussing the ones from before, but you're going to be healthier. Obviously, from the metrics that we've just discussed, your performance is going to be better. You're going to have more muscle mass. You may have a decrease of fat mass, depending on what your goal is. You're going to have more confidence, regardless of what most people will say. And I understand it's a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but nobody ever tells me that they want to look better when I give them the nutrition goal. Whereas I would argue a large percentage of people do want to. Most of the reason why I do my nutrition is to try and improve whatever it could be, body fat percentage, muscle mass increases. So don't be afraid to say you're looking to improve your aesthetic profile alongside your health, but it is a thing that will just naturally happen. Your confidence will increase as this goes on. You'll become more educated, which you're going to go over the different topics we'll discuss throughout the period that we are here. The more educated you are, the more better decisions you make in your nutrition. And long term, then, if you think about these decisions happening every single day, imagine that over the course of 10, 20, 30 years, if you can remember some of the bits that we go through in this course, you will develop more discipline. So think of it, when you're in this gym and you're lifting weights, you'll develop some mental strength from doing that. The nutrition is a different type of discipline. It's a different type of mental strength. If you can stick to a plan and you prove to yourself that you can do this, you can prioritize yourself and you can put yourself first, imagine the difference in your mentality going into the next block. Like I was saying, there's people in this room that have started with weight loss and they might have done weight loss for 4 or 5 blocks with me, and then they're on maintenance now. So they've proven to themselves that they can achieve, they have the discipline to show that they can stand a 6-week class or 6-week block, and they can get the results from that and improve their life and then change their goal. That can be you. It just, you have to prove to yourself that you're willing to do it, that you're willing to make the sacrifice. If you've done this before and failed, that doesn't mean you're going to do it again this time. You have to kind of say, well, what did I do last time that didn't work? And what am I going to do this time that will work? And you can make it. Like I was saying, there's a lot of people who have. So this is going to be a path to achieving your short and long-term goals. Short term being, let's say, for example, if person A is 100 kg, they want to lose 5 kg. Let's say they lose the 5 kg across these 6 weeks. That's a short-term goal achieved. Their long-term goal, they might want to be 80 kilos. If they do this 6-week block, the next 6-week block, the next 6-week block, it doesn't matter how many they do. Whenever they get to their goal, their long-term goal may shift and change. And that's, like I was saying at the start, some people started with weight loss and now they're looking at maintenance. They may be looking at muscle growth. They could be looking at a few different topics. That's a really nice thing to have. Kind of think to yourself, how many times have you said to yourself, I would like to lose X weight, or I'd like to lose X body fat, I'd like to get stronger, whatever it is. And how many times you fail that goal? Where is the line that you're going to say, I'm going to put myself first, prioritize it, and make sure that this is my priority and I'm going to get the achievement that I want? So setting that new goal is going to be a nice feeling once you get there. So that's what we're going to try to work towards. So metrics. So these are very important and sometimes sensitive, but this is how I've improved the results. So the second last one, we lost 36 kg, and I was a lot nicer in terms of I gave people the option to do this, and most people just took the option to do weight. I think it was 40% of the people took the option to do all three. The people that did all three were 67% better off at the end of the 6 weeks because they basically followed the exact plan to a T. The reason for that is because these two things here massively increase your adherence to the block. It massively increases your own mental acceptance that you are committed. It's going to get you better results because you have something to work towards. It's another metric outside of just weight. And the reason why that's important is obviously because it gets you better results. But if you only solely focus on weight, like Dan talked about earlier, it can fluctuate so easily. I could eat dinner at 8 o'clock tonight and then get up in the morning, not eat anything, stand on the scales. I could be 2 kilos heavier than I was this morning. And I think, oh, what's gone wrong? I'm 2 kilos heavier. It's purely just by time of eating. I could drink 2 liters of water now and then not go to the toilet, wake up tomorrow morning, I could be 2 kilos heavier. It's very hearsay with weight. It's something over a long period of time that will consistently show results, but it's not great to only have that. That's why these two things below here give us a lot more of a metric. It also helps you get a better relationship with this, because if you have two other things to work on and look at, you're then going to be looking at and saying, okay, well, my weight may not be where I want to be, but if I look at my progress pictures, look at my measurements, I can see there's a physical difference. I can look at my measurements, they're down, they're lower. So that's why these are 100% on the block. You have to do them. And it is uncomfortable for some people. Some people have just gotten so used to it now they don't even think about it. The amount of people that have done them, and at the beginning they didn't want to do it, and one of them, I'm not going to name the person, but they didn't do the nutrition block. The next time around they did the nutrition block, they did the progress pictures. Then the next time after it, they didn't care. They've done them again. It's like nothing to them now. At the start, it's scary. It's not that bad. After you do it a couple of times, you're kind of like, okay, whatever. Nobody likes taking pictures of themselves. I don't like taking pictures of myself. The lads do it as well. If you ask Dara, Sean, they'll be taking pictures. Nobody stands there and goes, oh yeah, this is great, I'm enjoying this. Like, it's not something that you are going to like, but it is something that is massively going to help you. And like I showed the data on the last talk we did, it's so substantial. The people who do this always do better. So that's how we're going to track your progress. I'll send you guides on how to take them properly, accurately, so that way we're getting more of a consistent amount. Because, for example, if you stand in the pitch black, it's hard to see. Stand in different lighting, you stand different. It's always going to be different. So try to keep it as consistent as possible. So, mistakes. So these are the things that people fall out on, and these are the things that you're going to have to look to avoid. If you can avoid these, you will do well. So first thing is mindset. Don't tell yourself that it's okay to quit. Don't tell yourself that, oh, well, look, I had a hard week, I'm going to treat myself. You don't need to do that. You've had a hard week. You then make sure you get yourself on plan so you don't have as hard a week the next week. You're committing to 6 weeks. 6 weeks is not that long of a time. It's going to be early March and it's done. It's already halfway through January. Think about the time. It'll fly. Communication. You have to communicate with me. If you don't tell me you're struggling, if you don't tell me that you're not getting it right, I can't help you. It's all a two-way thing. If you tell me you're struggling, you're telling me you're finding things hard, you're finding meals hard, you're finding it hard to prep, talk to me. I can help you. There's always a solution. Like I said, if you don't tell me, I can't help you. And often by the time you tell me, it's when you're quitting, and it's very hard to pull somebody back at that point because they haven't put the work in over the time. So making sure you're communicating with me. Punctuality. This one I'm going to be really strict on this time because there's 14 of you here today. There's 12 people that aren't here today. So there's going to be 26 of you in this group. I can't keep chasing people to do these things. So I'm going to send it in the email. I'm going to get you to put it as reminders. So when I'm going to go over the timeline in a second, but you need to make sure you're updating your weight on time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If I have to keep asking you, first of all, this takes a lot of time, but then like that, there's another job to this gym. There's the coaching, there's the admin, there's a lot of things. I can't keep chasing 26 people to update their weight on time. So you guys make sure you're punctual with it. Progress pictures, you're going to do them 3 times, the beginning, the middle, the end. Again, do them on time. Don't have to get me to text you to do them. It does take a lot of time. It's making it harder for the other 25 people, or if everybody was to do it, it's going to make it really hard for me to do it. So just make sure you are functional. Ghosting. So please don't ignore me. It happens more often than you think. And it's, I get why people do it. I understand it. It's sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to see Eamon. I hope he's not in the gym today. And I ignored Eamon. I don't want to do it. I've been not off plan. It's the worst thing you can do. And also, if you don't reply to me in like 2 days, everybody's on their phone all the time. I know. And I can see the timetable. I will come and find you. And I'm making sure you're going to stick to this. So there's no hiding, so no ghosting. And then reverting to old habits. This one. So what happened last time is sometimes you'll see people, they'll make progress, they lose 6-7 kilos, and then they just completely go cold turkey back to old habits. You can't do that. You have to stick and learn on what you've done. So when we finish this block, I'm going to show you how to not do this. But all of the habits that you're learning, all of the good things that you're doing, they are not temporary. These are things you have to change long term. Otherwise, if you do what you've always done, you'll achieve what has always been the same. We need to make sure that we're pushing on and that you're getting progress. And you're saying, okay, well, I'm not going to go and get a takeaway every weekend because that's what happened last time and I didn't get the results that I wanted. This time I'll be every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. There's always a way you can fit it in, but just ask me, I can help you. So we avoid these, you will have success. So what does the timeline look like? So this is exactly what we're going to learn over the 6 weeks. So Monday is the start date. It's just about getting used to your calories, getting used to the process, getting everything right. Monday the 26th is educational topic 1, which is food function. So I'm going to teach you what food does, what food can do, and what you may be lacking, what food can change. So I'm going to show you what type of foods you need, what type of foods you may introduce to your diet to solve X problem. And that's going to be on an education topic. So the reason we're doing that is because it's great that you get results, but if you can't learn, you're not going to be able to keep it without me. So I want you to make sure that when the accountability isn't there, the things that you're learning, that you're consistently applying, this is what's going to stop you reverting back to old habits. This is what's going to keep you progressing, and it's going to get you better results. Educational topic 2 is recovery and muscle growth. So like Dan talked about earlier, you have to be able to recover of the stimulus to be able to get the result from that. Nutrition is such a huge element of that. I'm going to go over the percentage differences of people who do and don't recover properly with nutrition, but I'm also going to show you how to do it. What type of foods, why them type of foods, how them foods react to your body, how your body digests them, and also when to have them. So we'll go over that on week 3. Well, this is the end of week 3 then. We got feedback and metric updates. So I'm going to review your logs, see how you're doing. Gives you a chance to tell me how you are, how you're struggling, or how you're doing really well, what's good, what's not good. And then the metric updates is your progress pictures, your weight, your measurements, so I can see where you're at. Very, very important. I need to see them so that way I can make sure you're on the right track. We'll obviously make adjustments as we go, but this is the key point at the halfway point. So what can happen is sometimes people do so well, they get to this point and then they get sloppy. That can't happen this time. You have to tell yourself, you're here for 6 weeks, you can do 6 weeks. So it's making sure that we keep everything in line. And on that feedback, I'll go over everything you possibly need to continue to get the results. And then educational topic 3 is micronutrient functions. So this is where cognitive improvements, that's thinking, memory, all these type of things, sleep, you're going to look at other aspects like energy, different dietary changes that can make you feel better. Micronutrients are responsible for quite a lot of them. I'm going to show you what ones are important to really look at. You don't have to fully understand what each function of every one of them are, but it's more so looking at it from a standpoint of saying, if I don't feel X or if I'm feeling like this, what type of foods aren't in my diet? And it's to try to get you used to that so you can start to make your meals and shopping lists a little bit better. Then lastly, our last education topic is going to be gut health, which is one we haven't done before. It's very important. So you've got to look after your gut. Your gut, it does so much for your body. It does so much for your digestion, your energy, your training progress. There's so many different elements that come with that. So if you can understand that a little bit more, understand how your gut reacts to different foods, different timings, different amounts, it's going to give you a massive advantage in your long-term health and long-term life. And then lastly, this is the most important week, your closing metrics. So last time a lot of people didn't finish this for me. So this time, make sure you do get it done. Your closing feedback and your closing metrics, because that's how you're going to sustain the results. That's how you're going to sustain the pattern. And it means that I can get you ready then for the next block. And the idea is that you continuously do these blocks. And I have this to base off for the next one. If I don't have this, it's starting fresh again, and you're just going to be repeating the process. So that's our timeline. That's what we'll be sticking to. And hopefully everybody